Good morning! I'm coming to you in the morning today because I had an idea for a video and I thought that you might appreciate it. First things first, before we get started, I am going to address this. As you might notice, I have a rash, and the rash is literally over my entire body except for on the tops of my arms, and you're gonna know why in a half a second. I'm gonna try to get this explanation done in less than a minute on this video. So that we can get to writing related junk. So anyway, this is the product of pharmacists and doctors not doing their job. The doctors and the pharmacist who gave me a antibiotic after getting my wisdom teeth removed neglected to tell me that it makes you highly photosensitive and that maybe you shouldn't do your normal routine of doing 5 minutes in the tanning bed to combat your seasonal affective disorder. So, yeah, anyway, this is what happens when you trust doctors and pharmacists instead of Googling every medication that they give you, because Google has it listed as a very common side effect of that medication. And when I called the pharmacy after this happened to ask them about that, they're like, we don't have that listed as a side effect. And they were very condescending about, well, of course we didn't tell you about that because it's not a side effect of this drug. And it's like, well, it fucking obviously is. Anyway, that was a minute and a half wasted on that. But anyway, so if you're wondering why I'm all red and splotchy, this was much worse yesterday. I've been putting hydrocortisone cream on it, but that's why, because you can't trust doctors and pharmacists. Anyway, that was super negative and soapboxy. So with this, I wanted to do a quick video on one particular writing resource that you might not think of as a writing resource, but can be very, very helpful in coming up with stories. Now, I wanted to talk about drawing from your dreams for inspiration and for story ideas. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I'm going to give an example, and that's pretty much what this video is going to be, is me giving an example so that you can kind of see how you might be able to do that. I had a dream the other night that cascaded into this whole idea for a story. Now, I have always said that I would never be the type of person to write a fantasy book that had a magic system, simply because I could never imagine coming up with a unique magic system. So many of them have been done just 1,000,001 times before. Elemental magic systems, done 1,000,001 times. I can't imagine a unique way to do it again. A Harry Potter type magic system with wands and wizards and spell words, done 1,000,001 times. Stuff like that. And I had a dream the other night that was, it felt so real in the dream. It was like impactful. But I had this dream, and it was basically about Sleeping Beauty, and that the world, though, was this world where if you did something evil, it would directly affect you and the world around you negatively, like instant karma, essentially. And in my dream, it was very classic Renaissance style fantasy, with like the clothes and the castles and stuff. But I woke up and I was like, how could I make that magic system work? Where it's like a karma-based magic system. Not that people have magic, and that's specifically what I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want any people to have magic. It's just that the world is magic. And I started thinking about how I could make that work. And the biggest problem that immediately came up in my mind is I'm like, okay, but if you have that, how are you going to have conflict? Because if you do anything evil, if it directly impacts you immediately, then that would make it pretty much so the bad guys couldn't do their thing, or if they did, like, it would resolve itself. So I got thinking about that. I still haven't fully solved that in my mind, but then I was driving to work and I was admiring our mountains. We have beautiful, beautiful snow-covered mountains here in Utah. And I was thinking how it looked like a wall that just stretched on forever. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it like came to my mind, all like cascading off this dream throughout the day, where these ideas kept coming to me. I'm like, what if this planet was like yin and yang? And you know how Saturn has like the rings that goes around it? What if like this planet had a ring of mountains that went around and divided the two halves of the world, and they were so tall that they went up into the atmosphere and they were like visible from space? That would just be so cool looking on a cover. And one side of the planet isn't affected by these karmic rules, and the other side is. So the one side is like, and I decided, since it's kind of a yin and yang thing and it's karma based, that I would have these societies be like Chinese, like based off of Chinese culture, and that would be really cool. And one is like stuck in like, I don't know, maybe like Shah era China. And the reason why they have, because I hate when in books they don't address why certain societies don't have higher technology, like when it's a science fantasy or something. So I guess this would be a science fantasy, because my other side's gonna have lots of tech. But the one side would be very low tech, and the reason being is because if you live in a society where if you accidentally kill somebody, you immediately drop dead, would you want to be driving around cars which are very easy to accidentally kill people with? No, you wouldn't. Would you want this other technology which is very easy to accidentally cause something bad to happen? No, you wouldn't. So they're stuck in this older time period, and they believe that the other side doesn't exist anymore. According to legend, they've all killed themselves off because they're able to do evil things, and clearly there's no way that they would have survived. It's just they would have died eventually. And they're divided by these mountains, and nobody ever goes to the other side. And this, like I said, because they're kind of like Shah era, or I'll have to research what era of Chinese history I would want to do. But I like the Shah, even though they're fictional. But actually, oh my gosh, I could use that, the fact that they're fictional, and like have them actually like be the Shah. Anyway, I just think that would be fun. Sorry, see how like this little tiny seed from a dream is like cascading into other ideas of how to make it work. Like last night, my hubby had an idea. He's like, how are they gonna have any like buddy to protect them or something? I'm like, what if they have like these awesome like monks that practice this kind of like jujitsu-y whatever martial art, where instead of hurting you, they do like in that one character in Avatar: The Last Airbender does, where they just like hit your pressure points and like knock you out, but it doesn't hurt you, so technically they don't have any like karmic backlash. Anyway, like, and they like protect the king and the queen and the prince and the princess. And the conflict I came up with that I like, and I think I need to add some sort of time delay to the karmic results to make this work, is somebody comes from the side that can do stuff, that can do bad stuff, repercussions. They come over and they kidnap the princess and take her back to their side because of some prophecy that they had, where it said that in order to solve their problems that they're having, because they're in turmoil over here right now, in order to solve their problems, they need somebody that's perfectly good or something to rule over them. So they kidnap her to make her rule over them, which I'm kind of getting a little bit of inspiration from a book series I used to love called the Wolf Tower series. But anyway, those are all the things I've come up with so far here. And what's really funny is, as I was coming up with what the conflict is going to need to be, what this is going to need to be, the whole theme, the whole idea, it's very obvious that the plot is going to follow the hero's journey, because that's just obvious. I mean, like, just from the couple elements of the plot I know, I'm like, oh, this is clearly a hero's journey story. And I'm so excited about it. I'm not going to get to it for a while, but it sounds like so much fun, and I never thought I'd do a fantasy book like that. But anyway, that is just one example of how a dream about one little thing can build and build and build, and you'll come up with other ideas. I mean, I came up with one right here on this video, so thank goodness I have it documented. I don't even have to write it down. I've got it on a video. But anyway, that is an example of how you can build off your dreams into ideas, and you just kind of keep thinking about it. And this also comes into understanding story elements and storytelling, because like I mentioned, I had these couple of details to start, and I knew from those couple of details, I'm like, okay, if I have this conflict, how am I going to have conflict? And you need conflict for a story. I know that from basic storytelling. How am I, or what kind of plot am I going to follow? Am I going to do a plot embryo? Am I going to do 3-act structure? Am I going to do this? And so on and so forth. So I would probably say to use your dreams to come up with story ideas. What you need to do is have a basic understanding of storytelling and plot, and then you can just go from there. Just use your ideas that you get in your dreams if you have vivid, interesting dreams. If you do not tend to have vivid and interesting dreams, some recommendations I would have is to look into maybe using some teas. Anybody who's watched this channel for a little while knows that I am a big tea user, and one in particular that I really like using that I found gives me really vivid, really interesting dreams. There are 6 ingredients. I recently just added the 6th one. Actually, there's 7 if I want to add the other one for flavor, but it's optional. So chamomile, lavender, little tiny bit of hops, because hops are very, very bitter, but they will knock you out. So chamomile, lavender, hops. I use Amanita muscaria, and I just use a tiny bit of that, like a teaspoon in there. Some people think it tastes bad, but I actually love it. I think it has a nice earthy flavor. Chamomile, lavender, hops. Sorry, I'm trying to wrap this up. Chamomile, lavender, hops, Amanita muscaria. Oh, valerian root. And I also use, I just started using blue lotus in it as well. Just a little tiny bit of blue lotus. I also put bilberries in it sometimes just because I like the flavor that they add, but those are not necessary, and those literally do nothing for your sleep or your dreams as far as I'm aware. They basically taste like elderberries. Anyway, that is a tea idea that I found gives me amazing dreams and also knocks me the hell out. If you are, I will give one warning, research the Amanita muscaria if you plan on using it. I use it as an anxiety medication because it makes me feel so much better the next day, and things that would normally stress me out to the point of insanity don't when I've taken my Amanita. But research that first. If you are on SSRIs or anything like that, there can be some drug interactions with that, so be careful and research it. Or just leave that ingredient out if you're concerned about it, because all the other ingredients will do the same thing, especially valerian root. Valerian root will do it for you. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up because this video is getting very long, and that last section had literally nothing to do with writing. This is just, this is turning into a channel where I complain about skin conditions and my face being swollen and talk about tea. I just need to make a tea channel, and maybe like a lazy girl beauty channel or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a great one and get to your writing. Bye-bye.